Welcome to Ohio Tabletop Gamers. Today, I will be giving my thoughts on the Human Defense Force light gunship, often overlooked because it's an aircraft. But I believe that this is one of the strongest units in the Human Defense Force. So we're going to go ahead and see what it's all about, and that way you can see why I believe that this is one of the best. So, out of the box, the light gunship comes in at 285 points. It's a quality 4, defense 2, aircraft with tough 6, transport 11. Comes armed with a laser cannon with a range of 36 inches with 1 attack AP3 deadly 3, and twin rocket pod with 24-inch range, 2 attacks, blast 3. So let's start with the aircraft rule. May only use advanced actions, moving in a straight line and adding 30 inches to its total move, even if shaken. Aircraft ignore all units and terrain when moving and stopping. Can't seize or contest objectives, can't be charged, and units targeting them gets a minus 12 inch to ranging it. Okay, so that's the aircraft rule. You have to go in a straight line at least 30 inches. So you can't rush or charge or anything. You can't charge anybody, obviously, but they're just saying that you have to at least go 30. You can do 31 to 36 inches, and that's fine. And you cannot seize objectives or contest them. But you also cannot be charged. And any unit trying to shoot at them gets a minus 12 inches on their range. So this is very, very good. I think that what most people see with that, you must at least do 30-inch moves, kind of scares them away from using this and in a straight line. But let me tell you, I've used this a lot. And don't let that scare you, because this thing is awesome. So let's go back to this overview. And so out of the gate, you're getting a laser cannon. That laser cannon is actually really good with the deadly 3. Being on a light gunship. The twin rocket pods aren't terrible. The aircraft rule is great. And it's defending, it's a 2+ on its defense. With all that said, the most important thing on here is the transport 11. That is what this thing is for. So, let's go ahead and see what the upgrades are real quick. So, you can replace your laser cannon with a laser machine gun. 30-inch range, 3 attacks AP3 for 5 points. I actually like this a little bit better than the laser cannon, but if you want to save 5 points, laser cannon is awesome too, and it gives you that deadly, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. Replacing the twin rocket pod with strike missiles, 36-inch range, 1 attack AP3 deadly 6. And with unstoppable for 45 points, this is awesome. Especially with the unstoppable and the deadly 6. So it might be worth you adding the 45 points, but again, it's still adding 45 points. So that's up to you. I can't tell you whether it's good or not, because I've used it and it works well. And I've used it and it didn't work so well. So it's only 1 attack, so you got to remember that. 1 attack a turn, I should say. Then you can add door gunners. 30-inch range, 3 attacks AP1 for 40 points. That's a heavy machine gun. And if you got the extra points laying around, that is awesome also, because more firepower is always better. It just depends on how you are dealing with your points and having any extra points in your list. So as you can see here, I chose a Zeppelin because it fit the theme of my HDF army that I was going for. And I just thought it was really cool. And it really fits the theme of being a World War I to World War II-ish diesel punk style. I thought this would be great. But it's my light gunship. And so, anyway, back to the light gunship. It's a Transport 11, guys. This thing has so many possibilities, but the way I've run them, and I think this is why I believe this is the best, is okay, so you have 30 plus inch move. Okay, 30 plus inches. If you put this thing right in your deployment zone, with nothing's going to shoot at you in turn 1 until you move this thing. For the most part, they're a minus 12 inches to reach you, so you're pretty safe. What I do with this is I load it up with veterans. Sometimes with shotguns, sometimes with the demo charges, sometimes with both. I always put an officer in there with them. Depending on what I'm going to do, I either buff their melee or I'll buff their shooting, depending. Now, a lot of times I will also add the regen to them and their morale boost, the hold the line boost, just because I want them to be really, really difficult to get rid of once they get out. So you shoot this thing, you shoot this thing across the board in turn 1. You can pretty much go anywhere into your enemy's deployment zone, right up in the middle of them. And since this ignores terrain, it ignores enemy units, you can put it anywhere you want. Then, your next activation, you can get your veterans out. And you can charge up to that 6 inches if you're using the demo charges. And, of course, you have the officer to boost it. It is absolutely devastating. Or, you jump out with your veterans with shotguns. Especially if you got 10 of them. Each one has 2 attacks. That's 20 attacks. And you got the precision shooter on there with your officer. Plus, arm your officer with the shotgun also. So, you're looking at 20 plus attacks at AP1. And you're hitting on 3s. You are going to devastate, pretty much anything that you shoot at. Especially T3 units. Let's say they have a nice T3 unit sitting there in their deployment zone ready to come out. Fly right up to them and erase them. An infantry unit, you can erase them. Chaff units, erase them. Heavy weapons, artillery, even APCs. Again, you could run them with the shotguns or the demo charges, or you want to really spend the money, or spend the points, I should say, run them with both. I would put the regen and the hold the line boost in there just because after they went, your opponent now has a full unit in their deployment zone. And you just blasted one of their units off the table. They definitely cannot ignore you. They have to come after you. And the better off you are at staying alive and not being shaken, you are a thorn in their side. It's not just the fact that you went across the table, you jumped out, and you obliterated a unit. It's also the fact that now you have a very good unit sitting in their deployment zone. They cannot ignore you. Even if they try, you're going to make them pay for it. So they're going to have to come after you. They're going to have to dedicate units that otherwise would be coming up the board getting to objectives. They're going to have to dedicate units to get you out of their backside. And like I said, with any luck, if the dice were with you, you just obliterated one of their units already. So now they're down a unit, possibly, and now they have to commit other units to destroying you. So you might, counting the one that you really put a hurting on, you might be able to basically tie up to 3 units, maybe even 4, depending on how angry or upset they are, that should be going forward towards objectives, but instead has to deal with you. And that frees up your units on the other side to move up the field, having less opposition. And that is another big significant thing, because if they do not deal with this veteran unit, you're going to cause havoc in the rear of their line. Now, don't forget, when you move the transport of light gunship, that you have guns. And that's why I like the laser gun a little bit more than the deadly, even though the deadly's great if you get up there and you shoot at a tank or something, maybe knock 6 wounds off of it. But having more shots to hit makes more sense than trying to bank everything off of one shot with a deadly 6. I would rather have the 3 at AP3. I would rather have the machine gun on there also, the door gunners. I would like to throw out as many attack dice as I possibly can to score as many hits onto other units. Because remember, you can split your fire as long as the weapons are different. So you can split your fire with this light gunship when you get over there, or target one unit, target the unit that your veterans are going to jump out and get. You know, plink off some more wounds before they even get started. I mean, there's endless possibilities with this, but let me tell you, I've done this many times with that big giant Zeppelin, and my opponent knows what I'm going to do, and there's nothing they can do to really stop it. Now, honestly, once you get over there, they could try to move a unit out of the way, but you got a 6-inch move around the base of your gunship, and the shotguns are 12 inches. So even if they rush away, you can still range them. You see what I mean? You can still range them even if they rush away, because they can only rush 12. You have a range of 12, plus you get the other 6 to get closer. So they really can't run away, per se. They can try to run away through some cover, whatever. I mean, it depends on the terrain and what you're doing. But you get what I'm saying, is this thing is a transport that can go 30 inches. It cannot really be shot at the beginning of the game because of that minus 12 to hit, or minus 12, on their range. And so, yeah, this is great. This is better than any transport that you can put on the field for the initial turn. Now, granted, the other transports in the armored truck and APC, they're good, and they have more staying power, as in, you're able to do more because, you don't have to do a 30-inch move. But even with a 30-inch move, it's worth it. It really is worth it. I have not yet had a game where I used this tactic that it didn't work. Even when my opponent knows what I'm doing, they still don't have a counter for it, because how can you counter this? So don't overlook this. This light gunship is a heck of a great transport. You put some really good units in it. Like I said, the veterans with shotguns, you beef them all up. Yeah, I know you're throwing a lot of points into one, basically turn. But this is a devastating turn. And again, they have to commit units to go after you, which means that they cannot commit those units to pushing up the field towards objectives. They can't commit those units to shooting at your other guys coming up mid-board, because they can't afford to leave a veteran unit like that behind them. They just can't, especially if you have the shotguns. If you use the demo charges, you're only going to use it one time. And if you don't have them armed with something better, then the threat level goes down a little bit. Not a whole lot, but it does go down. But that threat of having a full unit of veterans with 20 plus attacks at AP1, that is a heck of a threat. And that is how I would use them. You can put any other unit in there. You can put stormtroopers in there and sappers and everything else. But I'm just saying, the veterans can be very devastating, and that's what I've always put in it, is I come right down and I just blast somebody off the board. And then, of course, my transport is also shooting. So I'm plinking wounds off of other units at the same time. It gets very frustrating for your opponent. So I know aircraft aren't, loved by everyone because of that rule. But I'm telling you, man, in the first turn, you're in your enemy's deployment zone. And that's what it's for. Get all the way across the board in turn 1, drop off those infantry guys, and go to work. And you will find a lot of success because, again, they have to deal with you. So you've got 3 really good things out of this, out of this combination. Now, again, you can put other things in there, whatever you like. I'm just giving you advice from, I've used this a lot, and the veterans really do good. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. If you got a model that can kind of be a light, gunship, then throw it in there and just, use it in a friendly game and see how well it works for you. Yeah, I love the Zeppelin. When I found that file to print, I had to have it. It's so cool and it's fun to use, and it fits the theme. So that's why I have the Zeppelin. But anyway, yes, the light gunship. It's a transport. Don't worry about the guns. Not really. You don't need to worry about the guns. It's that transport 11 and the aircraft rule that is going to be so cool. And turn 1, you're right in your enemy's deployment zone. You are jumping out with a bunch of veterans and you are obliterating somebody that he was or she was not expecting. You are going right at them. And yeah, and it frees your other units up to move forward. So anyway, I guess that is it for today. Yeah, I love this. I absolutely love this more than anything APC or armored truck wise in HDF. This works so well every single time. So if you haven't tried it, go ahead and try it. So anyway, I will leave you with that today. So those are my thoughts on the light gunship. Absolutely love it. So with that, I hope you have many more happy games ahead of you. I wish the best for you and your family. Take care.